Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Unplugged. So believe it or not, I've actually had my car for be 6 weeks tomorrow. And over that 6 weeks, I've got to know my car and I've got some thoughts and opinions on just EV ownership in general. So I thought I'd break this video into two. So this week I'm going to discuss 5 pros of EV ownership, and next week I'm going to do the 5 cons. So stay tuned. So coming in at number 5 is just how quiet EVs are. I mean, when I test drove the Renault Zoe for the first time, I knew it was going to be quiet, but it still surprised me just how quiet they are, particularly at low speeds. Obviously, the faster you travel, the more wind and road noise you get, which is to be expected. But yeah, whenever friends or family have come in the car, the first thing that sort of tumbles out of their lips is, "Oh wow, this is so quiet," or yeah, they're just absolutely amazed at how quiet the car is. And also the added benefit to that is in winter, like I live on a street that's predominantly retired couples, elderly couples. And I used to feel quite bad when I used to start the car in the morning in winter to like defrost it or de-ice it or whatever, and the car would be running for 10 or 15 minutes with that clattery old diesel engine running. I'm sure now this winter they're probably going to appreciate the fact that I'm not waking them up at 6:45 in the morning. So yeah, I'm sure they'll thank me for it. So yeah, I think how quiet is a definite pro to EV ownership. I mean, when I even when I do leave now at in the morning, like I'm pretty confident no one even hears me sneak out of our road. I feel quite stealthy. So no, it's great. It's a good bonus. So number 4, I'm giving to the power delivery. So obviously you've got torque from nothing. If you want to nip out at a roundabout or pull out of a junction quite quickly, you can do that. The power's there straight off the bat. So I'm really liking that. But also the fact that there are no gear changes, it just makes for one seamlessly smooth drive. And if anything, that kind of puts, well, me particularly, in more of like an economical frame of mind. So I actually find myself pulling away smoother and perhaps a little bit more slowly than I used to when I had my Astra. I used to sort of like rag that around here, there, and everywhere. But now I feel like I drive much more economically. That said, if I'm feeling up for a bit of fun, obviously you've got that power there. You can just nip out and go, get off the lights quite quickly. But yeah, more often than not, I actually find myself driving in a more economical manner because I feel a lot more relaxed. So yeah. So at number 3, I'm going to put like the lack of tailpipe emissions. So an EV is green at point of use, unlike a petrol or diesel vehicle, which is obviously emitting carbon dioxide all the time it's being used. Like I said, I didn't buy an EV for its green credentials, but it is certainly something that is a bonus for some people. Going on from that, obviously, I don't know what all of the energy that's provided to my house. I don't know how much of that comes from renewable resources, but even if only a portion, like a small percentage, say 20% of it comes from solar or wind turbines or something, I feel like I'm being kinder to the environment. I mean, you can then go one step on from that, and I don't know the details or the figures, but because I don't know whether it's more or less harmful to the environment in the production and creation of an EV versus an ICE vehicle. But that aside, if you had to pick one or the other, you can refuel an EV with 100% green energy if you had solar panels on your house. So at point of use, the lack of tailpipe emissions I think is great for the pedestrians that are on the street not having to breathe in the carbon dioxide that your car's emitting if you're driving a petrol or diesel vehicle. So yeah, I think that's going to bring like real health benefits, particularly in cities, if we had cities full of EVs rather than petrol and diesel cars. So in at number 2 is the fact that you can refuel at home. I really like it that when I, say for instance, I return from work and I don't think I've got enough charge for the next day or anything like that, it's literally a 15-20 second process to lift up the charge flap, pull out the bung and plug it in, and then the next morning when you go out to the car, you've got 100% battery, and it's again another 15-20 seconds to remove the cable, put the bung in and close the flap. I think that's great. Unlike when I used to refuel with diesel, more often than not I'd be going out of my way to go to a petrol station to refuel, so I might be a minute or two off of my drive wherever I was going, and then another five minutes or so to actually refuel the car, and then 2 minutes to get back to where I was. You're looking at like 10, maybe 15 minutes depending on your where you're refueling, which is obviously a chunk out of your day. I mean, in comparison, you've got to, like, say I get 150 miles range out of my car and I was getting 600 miles of range out of my diesel, I would have to charge it an equivalent of 4 times to cover the same distance. But even still, I don't mind spending 15 seconds out of my day just to plug and unplug the car, whereas 10 to 15 minutes is obviously a bit more noticeable. So yeah, the fact you can refuel at home is great. So number one has to be how little this car costs to run, or how little EVs cost to run. So I'm just on a regular 15p a unit tariff at the minute. I do plan to change, and it's sort of working out anywhere between 4 and 4.5p per mile to drive my MG, which is ludicrous. It's so cheap, I can't believe it, and it's only going to get cheaper when I change my tariff. But when you couple that with how little it costs to service as well, I mean, again, obviously this is going back to my MG and obviously isn't applicable to all electric cars, but mine came with the peace of mind promise, so I get 3 years servicing included. But the MG actually gave me the 3-year servicing costs. I think it was just over £280. So divide that by 36 months and it works out like £7.80 a month to keep it serviced. I mean, when you compare that to my Astra service plan, which was like £30 or £33 a month, like that's absolutely like there are absolutely massive savings to be made. So when I was looking into my MG, obviously I've done loads of reading online, and people had said, and people have commented, and rightly so, oh, like what happens if the battery needs replacing? It costs like they cost thousands. But like I think my argument to that is every year that passes, batteries are going to get cheaper. Also, when you consider the fact that I won't ever need a new exhaust, I won't ever need a cam belt. Something like a DPF filter on a diesel is like what, £1,000-2,000. Like these are all things that I'm never going to have to pay for. So if I need to pay for a battery to be repaired or replaced, it's just one of those like risks with motoring. I mean, obviously I've got my car from new and I probably won't have it much more than 4 years or so. So I don't think it's going to be an issue for me. But yeah, when you consider those things, I don't think it's really that much of an argument. Also, when you consider the added benefits that like regen brings, obviously you're putting energy back into the battery, so that's obviously good. But you're not wearing out consumable parts like the brake discs and pads. They're going to want replacing less frequently. I think that helps offset like the argument of batteries are expensive. Well, if you're not spending so much on maintenance, put the money aside and save for a battery if you're that concerned. But I think they've like proved to be relatively robust and reliable so long as you take care of them. So that concludes like my 5 like pros of EV ownership. Like I say, it's hard because I've only got my MG for experience, but yeah, like I think the pros of EV ownership are great, much better than those of ICE vehicles. So if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe, that's always much appreciated. And also, thanks to everyone else that's subscribed since my last video. I think in my last video I said I had something like 18 subscribers, and now I've got like 89, which is just mind-blowing. So thank you so much for that. Keep an eye out for next week's video when I'm talking about the cons. Cheers, thank you, bye.